All right, let's get right into it. We're about to unpack a financial story that is, well, it's pretty staggering. It involves a former president, billions in cryptocurrency, and a string of bets so perfectly timed they've got lawmakers on high alert. But this is so much bigger than just money. This is about a potential crisis of trust, right at the very highest levels of power. $3.45 billion. Let that sink in. That's the number we need to start with. According to a recent financial report, that's the estimated amount Donald Trump's family holdings gained from crypto assets and related activities. And the time frame to rack up this fortune? Just 16 months.
Now, to put that number into perspective, for his traditional empire, the real estate, the golf courses, all the branding, to generate a similar amount of money, that took 8 full years. So the question is obvious, right? How on earth did this new fortune materialize so incredibly fast? To understand what's happening now, we've got to look back a little. So, like any good investigation, we have to start by looking at the old ledgers, the documented financial history. This gives us a baseline, a sense of what came before this crazy, explosive new wealth. It helps us put the whole thing in context.
And right away, you see the stark contrast. On one side, you've got the public narrative we all know, the self-made billionaire who built an empire from a small loan. But on the other side, you have what investigative journalists found in books like Lucky Loser, and it's a very different picture. We're talking an inheritance worth over $400 million in today's money, a history of failed ventures and bailouts, and that huge public rebranding thanks to reality TV. This background is absolutely key as we pivot to a totally new financial arena.
So, let's move on to the new MO. We are shifting gears from the world of traditional business to one that's way more volatile, way more murky. High-stakes gambling on crypto and these things called prediction markets.
Okay, so what is a prediction market? It's actually pretty simple. It's a platform where you can bet on the outcome of future events. People trade these little contracts that pay out if they guess correctly. And as you're about to see, you can bet on, well, pretty much anything.
Yeah, this goes way beyond just sports betting. We're talking about election outcomes, major policy decisions, and this is where it gets really unsettling. People are betting on military actions, assassinations, and the specific outcomes of wars. And this is where the story takes a very, very serious turn.
Now we get to the real heart of it. Let's analyze the evidence that has so many red flags popping up. We're going to follow a pattern of bets that observers and lawmakers are calling basically statistically impossible. Just look at this pattern of trades laid out here. The timing is, wow, it's just remarkably convenient. On February 27th, massive bets were placed on U.S. airstrikes happening the very next day. They did. Then on March 23rd, huge trades on oil futures, which is just betting on the price of oil, were made minutes before a Trump announcement sent prices crashing. And then it happened again on April 7th. You see, it's this recurring pattern that has caught everyone's attention.
Let's just zoom in on that April 7th ceasefire bet, because it's a perfect case study. Hours before anyone in the public knew anything, at least 50 brand new accounts on the prediction market Polymarket popped up and placed huge bets on a U.S.-Iran ceasefire. This was at a time when all the public talk was getting more tense, not less. Then, at 6:30 p.m. sharp, Trump announces the deal, and just like that, those bets instantly became worth hundreds of thousands of dollars.
I mean, the pattern was so clear it actually triggered a formal investigation. And listen to how Representative Richie Torres put it when talking about those March 23rd trades. He said, and I quote, "The only plausible answer to that question is an insider trader. Any other alternative is a statistical impossibility." So what in the world is being done about all this?
Well, that brings us to the official response. Lawmakers are now faced with this new financial Wild West, and they are scrambling to put up some guardrails to figure out how you even police this kind of technologically advanced frontier.
There are a few different laws being proposed. One bipartisan bill wants to ban betting on the most sensitive stuff: war, death, and military action. Another, called the PREDICT Act, would stop government officials from trading on markets related to political events. But, passing these laws is one thing. Enforcing them is a whole other ballgame.
And this gets to the fundamental problem, which Columbia law professor Joshua Mitz just nailed. A lot of these platforms are crypto-based, they're decentralized. The anonymous nature of the blockchain makes it incredibly difficult for regulators to figure out who is making these trades, let alone prove they were acting on illegal inside information. It's like trying to catch smoke with your bare hands.
So let's just step back and look at the big picture here. This isn't just about some traders getting rich. The implications are way more profound. It's leading us straight into what you can only really call a crisis of trust in our most basic institutions.
Think about it. If the public starts to believe that people with access to classified information are using it for personal profit, then your faith in the fairness of the markets just disappears. And even more importantly, it rots away the trust you have in government itself. The whole system starts to feel rigged. And honestly, this is the part that should send a chill down your spine. The ultimate fear, the one that experts are really worried about, is that the massive financial incentive to win a bet could actually start to influence real-world decisions, even decisions about war and peace. The moment profit becomes part of the equation for matters of life and death, the entire system is at risk.
Which leaves us with a final, very unsettling question. In a world where you can place $1 million bet on the timing of an airstrike, when geopolitical conflict becomes just another asset to be traded, who really pays the price for that gamble?